Artificial intelligence. It's a term that once conjured images of chess-playing computers or robots in science fiction. But AI has quietly, persistently evolved far beyond these early conceptions. Today it pilots our vehicles, diagnoses diseases, and even creates art. Now, consider this. AI is venturing into one of the most complex and intimate aspects of human existence, our emotions. This is not about robots having feelings themselves, not yet anyway. Instead, it's about machines learning to recognize, interpret, and potentially even influence the emotional states of human beings. This emerging field holds the promise of transforming our understanding of the mind and offering novel approaches to mental well-being, a domain that touches nearly every life on this planet. The journey of AI into the realm of emotions is paved with sophisticated algorithms and vast data sets. These systems are trained to detect subtle cues that we humans often process subconsciously. Think about the minute shifts in facial expressions, the almost imperceptible changes in vocal tone, or the rhythm of our speech. AI can analyze these signals with a remarkable speed and an ever-increasing degree of accuracy. Beyond these external manifestations, researchers are also exploring how AI can interpret physiological data, such as heart rate variability, skin conductance, and even complex brainwave patterns captured by electroencephalography, EEG, to infer our inner emotional landscapes. The universe within our skulls is complex, but AI provides a new lens to explore it. The potential applications for mental health are truly staggering. Imagine a world where your smartphone or wearable device could gently alert you to rising stress levels before you're even consciously aware of them. Consider AI tools that could assist therapists by providing objective insights into a patient's emotional state during a session, helping to tailor interventions more effectively. For individuals in remote areas or those hesitant to seek traditional help, AI-powered platforms could offer preliminary emotional support or guidance. We are standing on the precipice of a new era where technology could become a proactive partner in our emotional well-being, rather than just a passive tool we occasionally consult. This isn't just about convenience, it's about a fundamental shift in how we approach mental health care. Early detection of conditions like depression or anxiety could lead to more timely and effective interventions, potentially preventing more severe outcomes. Personalized emotional modulation, guided by AI, could offer treatments finely tuned to an individual's specific neural and emotional profile. The prospect of algorithmic antidepressants, as some are beginning to call them, hints at a future where mental health support is more accessible, more responsive, and deeply integrated into our daily lives. The cosmos of the human mind is vast, and AI is becoming one of our most powerful telescopes to explore its many galaxies of feeling. Our brains are, in essence, incredibly sophisticated electrochemical machines. Every thought, every memory, every emotion is the result of intricate patterns of electrical and chemical activity among billions of neurons. For centuries, we've sought ways to understand and influence this activity, especially when it goes awry, leading to mood disorders or neurological conditions. In recent decades, science has gifted us with neuromodulation technologies, tools that allow us to directly interact with the brain's electrical environment. These aren't just theoretical concepts, they are real-world applications, already changing lives, offering a glimpse into how we might one day more precisely sculpt our emotional states for therapeutic benefit. One prominent example is transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. Imagine a powerful, focused magnetic field generated by a coil placed near the scalp. This field passes harmlessly through the skull and induces small electrical currents in specific regions of the brain. By targeting areas known to be underactive in depression, for instance, TMS can stimulate these regions, helping to restore more balanced neural activity. It's a non-invasive procedure, typically requiring no anesthesia, and has become an FDA-approved treatment for major depressive disorder when other treatments haven't been effective. It's like giving a specific part of the brain a gentle, precisely aimed wake-up call, nudging it back towards a healthier operational state. Then there's transcranial direct current stimulation, or TDCS. This technique uses a much weaker, constant electrical current delivered via electrodes placed on the head. Unlike TMS, TDCS doesn't directly cause neurons to fire. Instead, it subtly alters the resting state of neurons, making them either more or less likely to fire when other inputs arrive. It's like adjusting the sensitivity dial on a very complex instrument. While still largely experimental for many conditions, TDCS is being investigated for a wide range of applications, from enhancing cognitive functions like memory and learning to alleviating symptoms of depression and chronic pain. Its relative simplicity and lower cost make it an attractive option for future widespread use. For more severe treatment-resistant conditions, scientists and doctors sometimes turn to deep brain stimulation, or DBS. This is a more invasive procedure involving the surgical implantation of tiny electrodes deep within specific brain structures. These electrodes are connected to a pulse generator, similar to a pacemaker, which delivers continuous electrical impulses. DBS has shown remarkable success in treating movement disorders like Parkinson's disease, and its application is being actively researched for conditions like severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, and crucially for our discussion, treatment-resistant depression. These technologies, from TMS to DBS, demonstrate our growing ability to tune the brain, offering powerful precedents for more sophisticated emotional modulation in the future. The human experience is rich with a vast spectrum of emotions: joy, sadness, fear, excitement, calm. Each of these states, as complex and subjective as they feel, is underpinned by unique patterns of neural activity in our brains. Imagine if we could identify and isolate the specific neural signature or emotional code that corresponds to a feeling of profound happiness, deep tranquility, or unwavering focus. This is the central, almost science fiction-like idea behind the concept of algorithmic antidepressants. It's the notion that positive emotional states can be understood as distinct, reproducible patterns within the brain's intricate network. The process would begin with capturing these emotional blueprints. Using advanced neuroimaging techniques like functional MRI, fMRI, or high-density EEG, combined with sophisticated AI algorithms, researchers could monitor brain activity while an individual experiences a specific positive emotion. Perhaps this emotion is elicited naturally through joyful memories or induced through external stimuli like uplifting music or beautiful scenery. The AI's role would be to sift through the immense amount of neural data, filtering out the noise and identifying the consistent characteristic patterns, the unique electrical and chemical symphony that defines that particular positive emotional state. It's like trying to isolate a single melody within a massive chaotic orchestra. Once these emotional codes for positive states are identified and digitally recorded, the next logical step is to consider how they might be reused. If we know the neural pattern for, say, contentment, could we then use neuromodulation technologies to gently guide someone else's brain, or even the same person's brain at a later time, towards that specific pattern? The idea is that by reinducing the neural signature of a positive emotion, we might be able to help an individual actually experience that emotion. This is where the concept truly earns its name as a digital antidepressant, offering a targeted way to alleviate negative states by actively promoting positive ones directly at the neural level. This isn't about simply suppressing negative feelings with a blanket of artificial bliss. Instead, the vision is more nuanced, to provide a tool that can help rebalance an individual's emotional state, particularly when they are stuck in persistent negativity, such as in cases of chronic depression or anxiety. It could be a way to help individuals rediscover what positive emotions feel like, providing a foothold for them to then engage more effectively with therapy, social connections, and life itself. The challenge, of course, is immense, involving not just capturing these codes, but understanding their complexity, their individuality, and how to safely and effectively reintroduce them to the human brain. The human brain is often described as the most complex object in the known universe. It contains roughly 86 billion neurons, each forming thousands of connections, resulting in trillions of synapses. Decoding the precise neural activity that corresponds to a subjective emotional state within this labyrinthine complexity is a monumental scientific challenge. Emotions are not simple on-off switches located in a single brain region. They are dynamic, distributed processes involving intricate interplay between multiple neural networks. Capturing a stable, reliable code for something as nuanced as joy or serenity means understanding this interplay with an unprecedented level of detail, a task that pushes the boundaries of current neuroscience and AI capabilities. One of the most significant hurdles is the question of reliability and universality. Is the neural signature for happiness in one person identical to that in another? Given the inherent neurodiversity among humans shaped by genetics, life experiences, and even cultural backgrounds, it's highly probable that emotional codes will exhibit significant individual variability. What feels like joy to you might have a subtly different neural fingerprint than what feels like joy to me. Furthermore, even within a single individual, an emotional code might change over time or be context-dependent. The joy of achieving a long-sought goal might be neurally distinct from the joy of a quiet moment with a loved one, requiring highly personalized approaches. The challenge of personalization is therefore paramount. AI systems would likely need to learn an individual's unique emotional landscape, creating bespoke emotional codes rather than relying on a one-size-fits-all model. This would involve extensive data collection from each user, raising further questions about the time, effort, and data privacy involved in such a process. How much training data from an individual's brain would be needed to create an effective and safe personalized emotional code? And how would the AI adapt these codes as the individual changes and grows throughout their life? These are not trivial questions. They demand rigorous scientific investigation and technological innovation. Finally, even if we could perfectly decode and personalize these emotional codes, the challenge of effectively and non-invasively playing them back to the brain remains. Current neuromodulation technologies like TMS and TDCS offer some pathways, but they may lack the spatial or temporal precision required to induce highly specific and nuanced emotional states. Developing interfaces that can deliver these complex neural patterns with the necessary fidelity without causing unintended side effects or discomfort is a critical area of ongoing research. The journey from understanding the brain's emotional language to fluently speaking it back to the brain is long and filled with intricate scientific puzzles that we are only just beginning to piece together. Section 5, The Moral Compass, Navigating the Ethics of AI-Altered Emotions. As we stand on the threshold of potentially being able to modulate human emotions with AI, we must pause and consult our collective moral compass. The power to influence how someone feels is profound, carrying with it a host of complex ethical considerations that demand careful and proactive deliberation. These are not questions for scientists and engineers alone. They concern all of humanity, as they touch upon the very essence of personal autonomy, the nature of authentic experience, and the potential for misuse of such powerful technologies. The allure of alleviating suffering is strong, but we must navigate this new territory with wisdom and foresight to avoid unintended and potentially harmful consequences. A primary concern revolves around personal autonomy. Who ultimately controls the emotional remote? If an individual can choose to dial up happiness or dial down anxiety, that seems empowering. But what if this technology is administered by others, doctors, employers, or even governments? Could there be a pressure, subtle or overt, to maintain a certain emotional state deemed optimal or productive? The right to feel a full spectrum of emotions, even negative ones, when they are appropriate responses to life circumstances, is a fundamental aspect of human experience. We must ensure that any emotional modulation technology respects and preserves an individual's sovereignty over their own inner world. The question of authenticity is also deeply significant. If an emotion is induced by an AI replaying a joy code, is that feeling genuine, or is it merely a sophisticated simulation, a synthetic echo of true happiness? Philosophers and psychologists have long debated the nature of emotion and consciousness. If a person reports feeling happy and their brain activity mirrors that of naturally occurring happiness, does the origin of that state diminish its validity? This isn't just an academic debate. It impacts how we value these experiences and whether they contribute to genuine well-being or simply mask underlying issues. The quest for happiness should not lead us down a path of emotional forgery. Furthermore, the risk of misuse looms large. Imagine a world where emotional codes could be used for purposes beyond therapy. Could they be employed to enhance a soldier's aggression or fearlessness, or to make a workforce more compliant and less likely to complain? The potential for emotional manipulation for commercial gain, political control, or other nefarious purposes is a chilling prospect. Moreover, who decides what constitutes a desirable emotional state? There's a danger of pathologizing normal human emotional responses or imposing a narrow definition of well-being that doesn't account for cultural diversity or individual differences. These ethical quandaries require us to build robust safeguards and guidelines before such technologies become widespread. Section 6. Healing Trauma's Scars. A speculative look at AI in post-war recovery. Consider the devastating impact of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, particularly in individuals who have endured the horrors of war soldiers returning from conflict zones and civilians caught in the crossfire. PTSD is characterized by intrusive memories, debilitating anxiety, hyperarousal, and emotional numbness, making it incredibly difficult for survivors to reintegrate into society and find peace. Current treatments, while helpful for some, are not universally effective, and access to mental health care in post-war regions is often severely limited. This is where the speculative application of AI-driven emotional codes could offer a new beacon of hope, a futuristic tool to help heal these profound psychological wounds. Imagine a portable, non-invasive device, perhaps integrated into a wearable sensor array specifically designed for PTSD treatment. This device would be powered by sophisticated AI algorithms trained to recognize the early physiological and neurological indicators of an impending PTSD episode, perhaps a surge in heart rate, specific changes in brainwave patterns, or even subtle shifts in vocal stress detected by a microphone. The AI would continuously monitor the user, acting as a vigilant, silent guardian. This constant, personalized monitoring could be key to intervening before a full-blown traumatic flashback or panic attack takes hold, offering a proactive approach to managing this challenging condition. Upon detecting the precursors of a PTSD episode, the AI could then trigger a carefully calibrated neuromodulation response. This might involve delivering a pre-programmed emotional code designed to induce a state of calm, safety, or emotional regulation. The code itself would ideally be personalized, developed based on the individual's own neural responses to positive, calming stimuli during earlier controlled sessions. The goal would not be to erase memories, but rather to dampen the overwhelming fear and distress associated with them, allowing the individual to process the trauma without being completely re-traumatized. It's like providing an emotional shield at the critical moment, allowing for a more controlled engagement with painful memories. the potential benefits in post-war zones could be transformative. Such a technology could offer rapid, on-the-spot relief from acute symptoms, significantly reducing suffering and improving daily functioning. It could be deployed relatively easily in resource-poor settings where access to trained therapists is scarce. By helping to stabilize individuals emotionally, it could also enhance the effectiveness of other therapeutic interventions, such as talk therapy when available. Of course, this is a speculative use case, and immense research and ethical considerations would need to be addressed. But the vision of leveraging AI to bring solace to those haunted by war underscores the profound humanitarian potential of emotional modulation technologies. Section 7, the Pandora's box of feelings, consent, authenticity, and control. The prospect of AI directly influencing our emotional states opens a veritable Pandora's box of ethical complexities, particularly concerning the sanctity of informed consent, the nature of authentic experience, and the ever-present risk of misuse and control. While the therapeutic potential is undeniable, the power to alter feelings at a neural level demands an exceptionally high standard of ethical scrutiny. We must ensure that safeguards are not just an afterthought, but are woven into the very fabric of research and development from the outset. The human mind is not a playground for unchecked technological intervention. It is the seat of our identity and our freedom. Informed consent takes on new dimensions when the technology in question can potentially alter the very cognitive and emotional processes involved in making an informed decision. How can an individual truly consent to a procedure that might subtly shift their preferences, their mood, or even their capacity for critical judgment, perhaps even making them more agreeable to the procedure itself? The explanation of risks and benefits must be exceptionally clear, comprehensive, and delivered in a way that ensures genuine understanding, especially when dealing with individuals who are already emotionally vulnerable. The threshold for what constitutes informed must be rigorously defined and upheld to protect individual autonomy. The use of emotional modulation technologies with vulnerable populations raises even more profound ethical alarms. Consider children whose brains and emotional understanding are still developing, or prisoners where the potential for coercion is inherently high, or individuals with severe mental illness who may lack the capacity to give full consent. The temptation to use such tools for behavioral control or to enforce compliance in these groups could be strong, blurring the lines between therapy and social engineering. Strict, unambiguous regulations are essential to prevent the exploitation of those who are least able to protect their own emotional sovereignty, ensuring that any application is genuinely in their best interest and not a means of subjugation. Beyond individual consent, the potential for widespread emotional surveillance and manipulation is a societal concern. If AI can decode emotions, will this lead to systems that constantly monitor our feelings, creating emotional credit scores or profiles used by corporations or governments? The misuse of emotional codes could extend to subtly influencing consumer behavior, shaping public opinion, or even suppressing dissent by inducing apathy or contentment in the face of injustice. The line between therapeutic assistance and Orwellian control can be perilously thin. We must proactively build societal and legal frameworks that prevent the creation of a future where our innermost feelings become just another data set to be exploited. Section 8. Charting the Emotional Future. AI's Promise and Our Collective Prudence. The journey into AI-driven emotional modulation is like navigating an uncharted ocean. The potential rewards are immense, a future where mental suffering is significantly alleviated, where individuals have greater agency over their emotional well-being, and where our understanding of the human mind reaches new depths. We can envision a world with personalized, adaptive therapies for conditions like depression, anxiety, PTSD, and beyond. Treatments that are more effective, more accessible, and carry fewer side effects than many current options. AI could truly revolutionize mental health care, offering hope to millions who currently struggle in silence or find existing therapies inadequate for their needs. The transformative power of these emerging technologies could extend beyond clinical applications. Imagine AI tools that help us better understand and manage everyday stress, enhance our focus and creativity, or even deepen our capacity for empathy by allowing us to, in some way, experience or understand the emotional states of others more profoundly. The ability to subtly guide our brains towards more positive and resilient states could foster greater individual flourishing and perhaps even contribute to more harmonious societies. This is the optimistic horizon, the promise that fuels the intense research and development in this field. It's a future where technology empowers us to better navigate the complex emotional landscape of human existence. However, as with any technology of such profound power, the potential for unintended consequences and outright misuse necessitates extreme caution and unwavering ethical vigilance. The ability to directly influence human emotion is not something to be taken lightly. It demands a global conversation, one that involves not just scientists and engineers, but also ethicists, philosophers, policymakers, legal scholars, and most importantly, the public. We must collectively grapple with the difficult questions about autonomy, authenticity, consent, and the very definition of what it means to be human in an age where our emotions can be algorithmically influenced. This conversation needs to happen now, proactively, not reactively after problems arise. Therefore, the development and deployment of AI in emotional modulation must be guided by strong, clear, and internationally recognized ethical guidelines and regulatory frameworks. These frameworks should prioritize human well-being, individual autonomy, and the prevention of misuse above all else. Transparency in how these technologies work, robust data privacy protections, and mechanisms for oversight and accountability are crucial. We have a responsibility to steer this powerful ship with wisdom, ensuring that as we chart this new emotional future, we do so in a way that benefits all of humanity and upholds our most cherished values. The stars of progress are bright, but our moral compass must be our guide. Section 9. Beyond the algorithm, preserving humanity in the age of emotional AI. As we marvel at the dazzling potential of AI to decode and modulate our emotions, it is crucial to remember that technology, no matter how advanced, is ultimately a tool. It is a means to an end, not an end in itself. The quest to alleviate mental suffering and enhance emotional well-being through algorithmic antidepressants should not overshadow the irreplaceable value of human connection, empathy, and understanding. Our emotional lives are deeply interwoven with our relationships, our communities, and our innate human capacity for compassion. These are elements that no algorithm, however sophisticated, can fully replicate or replace. The allure of a quick technological fix for complex emotional problems must be tempered with a holistic perspective on mental health. While AI-driven neuromodulation might offer powerful new interventions, it should ideally complement, not supplant, existing therapeutic approaches that emphasize human interaction, such as psychotherapy, counseling, and community support systems. The nuanced understanding a skilled therapist brings, the comfort of a supportive friend, or the sense of belonging within a community, these are vital components of emotional resilience and recovery. True healing often involves more than just adjusting neural pathways. It involves meaning, purpose, and connection. Furthermore, we must be cautious that the pursuit of optimal emotional states, as defined by algorithms, does not lead to a homogenization of human experience or a devaluation of the natural spectrum of emotions. Sadness, grief, anger, and anxiety, while often uncomfortable, can be appropriate and even necessary responses to life's challenges. They can signal that something is wrong, motivate change, or foster empathy. Striving for a future where AI helps us manage debilitating emotional disorders is a noble goal, but it should not morph into an attempt to engineer a uniformly happy populace, devoid of the rich tapestry of feelings that make us human. Ultimately, the integration of AI into our emotional lives calls for a profound commitment to balance. We must harness the power of technology to serve humanity, to enhance our lives and to alleviate suffering, but we must do so without compromising our core values, our autonomy, or the essence of our shared human experience. The most promising future is one where artificial intelligence augments our innate capacities for emotional well-being and deepens our understanding of ourselves and others, all while preserving the irreplaceable warmth of human touch and the profound strength found in genuine human connection. This careful, considered path is the one that leads to true progress.